Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're doing something a bit different, and honestly, it is absolutely fascinating. We're going to literally put a magnifying glass over an incredibly brief piece of source material. I'm talking about a super tight, 8-second piece of minimalist storytelling. But you know what makes this so crucial is the macro context. This tiny little fragment, it's actually the foundational opening of a massive 75-scene epic set way back in the Vedic age. It kicks off this incredible progression, chronicling a transition from just primal, raw struggle to absolute culinary mastery. So let's pull apart exactly how that narrative efficiency works.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the absolute entirety of our source text for Scene 1. A stickman named Aru wakes up beside a river at sunrise. Now, think about that for a second. Writers will spend pages upon pages trying to establish their opening scenes, right? But this single sentence somehow contains an entire universe of narrative potential. In just 11 words, 11, the author gives us the protagonist, the physical environment, the time of day, the specific action taking place, and even the visual style of the whole world. It's perfectly distilled exposition, efficiently setting the stage for a sprawling story about deep survival and eventual mastery.
Moving on to our first section, the 8-second opening, time as a narrative device. Now, what's really interesting about this is it's just 8 seconds. I mean, think about how fast 8 seconds goes by in your day. It's a deep breath. It's a quick glance out the window. Yet in this incredibly tight, literally 8-second window, the foundational world-building of our entire story is established. The author isn't lingering here at all. They're dropping us immediately into the action of consciousness returning.
If we map this out literally, the scene starts right at 0. Then from 0 to 8 seconds, the sole action is just Aru waking up. Boom. At 8 seconds, the scene ends. By stretching this timeline out, we can really contrast our deep, deliberate analysis with the lightning-fast reality of the scene itself. It's a real-time awakening. We, the audience, are basically opening our eyes to this new universe at the exact same speed that Aru is opening his.
All right, next up, meet Aru the Stickman, the minimalist protagonist.
So, the crucial point here is this deliberate contrast in our protagonist's identity. He's given a very specific, distinct name, Aru. But he's also given an incredibly basic, totally universal physical form, a stickman. He's an individual, sure, but visually he's basically a symbol. And this incredibly basic form contrasts so heavily with the deep, complex culinary mastery he is destined to achieve over the course of the 75-scene narrative.
You might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, by explicitly defining him as a stickman, a minimal drawing of simple lines, the creator completely strips away all visual biases. There are no distracting details about his clothes, his age, or what his face looks like. Utilizing a stickman forces you and me to project our own imagination right onto Aru. He is the ultimate blank slate. And by making him a blank slate, it's so much easier for us to project ourselves into the harsh realities of community survival in the ancient Vedic age that he's about to face.
Let's shift gears to Sunrise by the River, setting the stage.
The phrasing here is just incredibly deliberate, beside a river at sunrise. The creator doesn't waste a single syllable. I mean, in 5 words, they establish the physical setting and the time of day all at once. We instantly know the atmospheric conditions. We can almost hear the sounds of rushing water. We can picture the lighting casting those long morning shadows. It's just incredibly economical writing.
And this brilliantly illustrates the juxtaposition of these elements. We have the river on one side, which universally provides water, signifies movement, and offers a fundamental path for survival. On the other side, we have the sunrise, representing the literal dawn of a new day and, of course, metaphoric beginnings. These aren't just random setting details thrown in for fun. They connect directly to those impending themes of community and survival in the Vedic age. They subconsciously signal to us that an epic quest is about to unfold. Life, movement, and a new dawn. They all hint at the primal struggles to come.
Finally, let's look at the journey begins, contextualizing the awakening.
We absolutely cannot forget the overarching title of the story, The First Great Cook. When we placed our little 8-second scene right next to this title, the contrast is staggering. This simple, rustic awakening by the river, a literal stickman just opening his eyes, is the humble origin of someone destined for a grand historical title. This narrative space spans a massive 75-scene progression detailing the pacing of his culinary discoveries. We're watching him go from a dirt-bound stickman to a masterful community provider. The distance between waking up in the dirt and becoming the first great cook is massive.
Let's see how this builds. This is Scene 1. It's the absolute baseline of the narrative, and it exists solely to ground us. Because, think about it, every epic 75-scene journey of survival needs a simple, grounding starting point.
Before the complex culinary journey can even begin, before any recipes are discovered or fires are built, we just need to know that a guy named Aru exists, he is awake, and he's by the water. You can't build a towering achievement without a solid, simple foundation, and Scene 1 delivers exactly that. So I leave you with this question. What awaits Aru after the sun rises? We've hyperanalyzed the first 8 seconds, but what happens at the 9-second mark? Is he going to discover fire? Will he begin his long transition from struggle to mastery to feed his community? The absolute genius of this minimalist opening is that it leaves us completely primed and desperate to know what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into micro storytelling. It just goes to show, you don't need 1,000 pages to spark the imagination. Sometimes, literally all you need is a stickman, a sunrise, and 8 seconds. I'll catch you on the next explainer.